What's up guys, it's Cody here, and today in this video I am going to be reviewing the brand new iPhone 12 Pro. Now if you read the title of this video, this is my favorite iPhone. And there's a lot of reasons why that is. And before you keep watching, let me know in the comments below what your favorite iPhone is. It could be the very first iPhone. It could be whatever iPhone you have, whatever the latest iPhone you have. Just let me know in the comments which one's your favorite. And if you want to, let me know why. But today I'm gonna say the iPhone 12 Pro is mine. Now that does not mean that this is a perfect iPhone. There's never been a perfect iPhone. So in this video, I wanna go over the things that I love and what make this phone my favorite iPhone. And then I wanna talk about the wish list of things that I wish the iPhone 12 Pro had. And then at the very end, I wanna go over one more thing that makes this iPhone just that much better that, you know, a lot of people aren't going to mention in an iPhone review. So let's go ahead and get into it. First is that new / retro / iPhone 5-esque style design. And I love it. Absolutely love it. It's a completely different form factor and it just looks so much better. It feels so much better. The quality, the heftiness of the phone. It feels like a piece of jewelry. It feels expensive. And when something is expensive, I want it to feel expensive. You know, a lot of people buy these types of items not only for the functionality, but also because it makes you feel good. You get that tiny little endorphin rush when you spend, you know, $1,000 on a phone. And you look at it and you say, okay, that's worth $1,000. Next are the bezels. The iPhone 12 Pro has just ever so slightly thinner bezels than on the iPhone 11 Pro. But I think what really makes the difference is the angled edge. So we have the flat 90-degree where the bezels just go straight to the edge and then they stop. And then on the iPhone 11 Pro, it kind of wraps around. So it really gives the illusion of having those bezels just a little bit thicker, and it just looks a whole lot better on the iPhone 12 Pro. Next is the A14 chip. Keep in mind that I love to make fun of Apple. Not make fun of, I like to criticize Apple. I like to criticize Apple when they do something that I think is stupid. Speaking of, MagSafe. I'm not gonna get into this, but I'm not a fan. If you guys wanna see a video on that, let me know by hitting the like button on this video. But if I am going to, you know, criticize Apple in those particular situations, I have to praise them where they, just blow you away. And every single year they set the standard with their brand new chipset. And the A14 is absolutely no different. I mean, it is a monster. Check out the Geekbench scores. You can benchmark this thing from here to Kingdom Come, and it is going to destroy every single chip in a smartphone. This chipset with iOS, no complaints whatsoever. Next is the camera. I love the camera. The camera is so good. It's so good. It takes incredibly crisp photos. They're a little bit warmer than the iPhone 11 Pro and Pro Max. And usually I like a little bit of a cooler picture in video. I like to make, you know, when you watch my videos, you usually see a cooler tone more than a warmer tone. And that's just because I think it looks better and it looks cleaner to me. But it looks so good on the iPhone 12 Pro. It looks so good. And honestly, I didn't know that they improved the stabilization. I stumbled upon this when I shot a video, and the stabilization, I was like, this is incredibly smooth. Smooth as butter. Video has always been a strong point in Apple. The camera period has always been a strong point for Apple, and one of those things that draws a lot of people in. It's always either the best or the second best, just depending on what phone comes out when. But I can tell you right now, if you get one of these phones, if you get an iPhone 12 Pro and you take a video, you're not gonna not like it. It's impossible. Or if you take a picture, there's no way you're not gonna like it. I mean, the low light pictures look so much better. They're brighter. You can see more detail. The Super Retina XDR, I mean, it's awesome. It's great. It's a great OLED that has high dynamic range. You can watch movies or videos on it and it looks amazing. It does get a little bit brighter than the iPhone 11 Pro. I mean, it's really hard to complain about the display on this device. It's perfect. It's not perfect. It's great. It's great. Now, the notch. If somebody came up and asked me and they said, do you want the notch or do you not want the notch? I'm gonna say, I don't want the notch. But at the same time, it's one of those things that I hardly notice anymore. You know, if I'm really scrutinizing the iPhone, I don't want a notch. But on a daily basis, it's not something that, triggers me every time I look at the screen of my device. So in essence, I guess it's really not that big of a deal. Hopefully the next version does not have a notch though. I am crossing my fingers for that. Now the next thing is 120 Hertz display. Now this is something that I absolutely wanted on the 12 Pro. Unfortunately, we didn't get that. Just like every year we don't get something that we want. And really the 120 Hertz display, I want it, but I don't need it. It's nice, but it's not mandatory. If it was a gaming monitor, anything less than 120 Hertz, get out of here. I don't even want to look at it. But on an iPhone, it's not that big of a deal for me. Now actually the biggest problem that I have with the iPhone is no Touch ID. And I feel like I'm the only person that reviews iPhones on YouTube that just doesn't like Face ID. I would much rather be able to use my Touch ID because for the most part, Touch ID works 100% of the time. Face ID works, it depends on the situation. If I'm laying down and I got half my face covered up, it just doesn't work. It's just not going to work. If I have it too low and I'm laying down and it's too low, it just doesn't work. And I'm not saying that Face ID is bad. I think it's actually a good thing, but it's not as good as Touch ID in my opinion. So I saw that Touch ID was coming to the iPad and the power button, and I thought, please, oh my gosh, give us Touch ID back on the iPhone. I want Touch ID. I love Touch ID. We didn't get it, unfortunately. But again, I'm willing to look past that because we didn't have it last year. We didn't have it the year before. So this is more just a hopes and dreams sort of thing that I wish that I get, but I may never ever get again. I don't know. Next is slow-mo. I wish that slow-mo got a bump in FPS. And if it wasn't a bump in FPS, I wish that they would get a bump in quality. Actually, I would probably prefer a bump in quality to 4K rather than I would a bump in FPS. 240 FPS is not bad, but 1080p, it's outdated at this point. I've been shooting 4K videos for years. And when I shoot video on my iPhone, I shoot in 4K, 60 frames per second every single time. Because I just want that top quality, the best quality that I can get. If I end up getting something that is worth having and worth sharing, I want it to be in the best quality possible. And when you pay this kind of money for an iPhone, you would expect to get the best quality possible. Next, it still uses a lightning cable. This is unfortunate. It didn't go to USB-C yet. And not only that, it only came with a single cable, a USB-C to lightning cable in the box. It doesn't come with a wall adapter. And that's more of an annoyance thing than anything. It's not an unfixable problem. Touch ID is an unfixable problem. You can't just go out and buy Touch ID, or I'd probably do it. But when you buy a phone, you usually expect to get a wall charger, and you don't in this one. So that is a downside. But at the same time, there's nothing that's perfect. Anybody saying that this is an absolute perfect iPhone cannot be trusted. Do not trust that person. Okay, so that wraps up my wish list. Now there's also one more thing that I want to mention that I don't think many people are going to mention inside of an iPhone review, and that is the cases. Now if you're somebody that uses a case like me, I always have a case on because when I hold a phone, I don't know if I just have naturally slippery hands somehow, but that phone feels like it's gonna slip out of my hand almost all the time. I feel like I'm gonna break it. I know I will drop it if I don't have a case on it for several days. So I almost always have a case on it unless I take it out for whatever reason. So that case is an extension of that iPhone. And I think that Apple is doing a great job in upgrading their cases, their silicone cases, which I did a review of this, all the colors on the silicone case. You guys want to check that out, I'll put a link whichever corner I'm supposed to put it in, or that I can put it in. And I also did one where I put the case on this phone right here, so you can see what it looks like with the phone in it. So if you want to see that, I'll put a link in the description below as well. But the case is great. I love how it closes off on the bottom. I love how they've changed the buttons. I like that the MagSafe is in the case. I like that it makes a little animation when I put it in a case. I love that I can actually see what color my iPhone is from just looking at the front of the device, because it peaks ever so slightly around the edges to show you that you have the gold or the graphite or the silver or the blue. And it's little things like that, all the little things that Apple does that make the iPhone the iPhone. That's what makes this phone my favorite iPhone. Not just because it's the best or the fastest iPhone that has ever been. Of course it is. It always is going to be like that. But I challenge you to look through all of my videos over the 8 years that I've been posting. Go see if you can find a video saying that this is my favorite iPhone. It hasn't happened. And that's because I never wanted to say that. Now, the question is, how long is this going to be my favorite iPhone? Because for the most part, I use a Pro Max. Maybe that's going to be my favorite. You know, I'm actually looking forward to testing out sensor shift optical image stabilization. I want to see what that's like. I think it's going to be cool. So in closing, I'll say this. If you're on the fence for an iPhone 12 Pro, I say get it. Try it out. I mean, you still have time to return it if you don't like it, but I don't think you're going to be disappointed with the features that this new iPhone 12 Pro offers. Now, of course, I am going to be getting that iPhone 12 Pro Max. I'll also be getting the iPhone 12 Mini. So if you guys want to stay up to date with that and see the unboxing videos and my reviews of those, be sure to hit that subscribe button, turn on those bell notifications so you're notified when I post a new video, and I will see you guys in the next one.